This week on Lemon's Car Spotting.
Hey, it's Nick and Eric. It's time to do some Lemon's Car Spotting. Let's go.
Yep, right to it. And wow.
Oh, dude.
One of one has to be, this is a Cadillac ETC Eldorado Touring Coupe convertible conversion. I mean, there's no way they actually sold these at a dealership in more than this. Has to be a custom thing, right?
You've got me. I mean, the thing about Cadillac convertibles historically is that were they factory? Yeah, sort of. It was made by this company that also made the limos and the hearses, but then we sold them at Cadillac dealerships. Or, no, it was just some company that made them. You had to bring them your Cadillac, etc., and then they would turn it into a convertible for you. What category does this fall into? Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely no idea. I do love the deck lid spoiler on it and the absolute worst color of leather with the triple beige on the seats and the tonneau or whatever you call that. I assume, man, I mean, this suddenly you're asking questions about what kind of convertible top is it? Is it a power top? I mean, it's a Cadillac, so you would think it would have to be, right?
Oh, man. I mean, that's the thing about convertible tops. Unless you're a Mazda Miata, even the factory ones are questionable at best. So if you get one that's like an aftermarket conversion that's now 25 years old, 30 years old, good luck with that. Man. Yeah. Well, nice find. Who posted that? That's a good one. It's Backroads of Eastern Washington, a frequent flyer on the channel. Next up. Ah, yes. It is a Toyota Hilux, a 79 through 83 model, whatever generation that makes it. It's like the fourth generation, third generation, something like that. Burying the lead, of course, because what we have here is a cabin cruiser, also a dually. It's pretty amazing. You know, I feel like we've seen something similar to this before, which again, I mean, it sort of falls into the Cadillac ETC. Like, was there a company sort of making this and did they sort of sell them? I don't know.
Yeah, a fascinating assembly of things. I mean, obviously the window is pulled out of a custom van of some sort. I read the caption to discover those wheels are off of a Chevy Beretta, which I mean, just chef's kiss right there.
They did look familiar. I knew they were Chevy. I was thinking Chevy truck, but no.
The dually thing is interesting because the 20R need, 4 tires to put the torque down. I mean, I understand it's sharing the load across, but even so, man.
Well, they made, and I don't know whether this was factory or not, but certainly the generation after this of Hilux truck, there was a factory or, semi-factory dually version. You used to see them as U-Haul rentals. And then you see them, people, there's flatbeds. A lot of those were the 3-liter V6, which is, marginally more powerful than a 22R. No, I think that it's like any other Toyota truck. Like, you're not going to set any speed records, but you can also carry about 25,000 pounds of weight up to a speed of about 30 miles an hour, and it doesn't care. So I think that might be what the logic is with the dually axle here.
Yeah, up to and including a howitzer if you're in certain parts.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's the technical is the common application. I don't know if anybody's got a dually technical. Man, you'd be the king of the small country Civil War if you had that.
Yeah.
Next up.
Yes. Man. I love so much when somebody's car spotting this compact spots. tells a story in one photo.
Oh, there's so much going on.
There's so much going on here. There's obviously a Chrysler TC by Maserati, which is not, of course, a Chrysler LeBaron with a slightly modified set of everything.
Nope, completely different.
Totally different. What did these actually cost?
That's a really good question. I mean, it being a special American version of a car, there are two possibilities. One, it was a $239 option checkbox, or two, it cost like twice as much as a Mercedes SL somehow.
Yeah, I want to say I looked this up once, and they sold at the time for like 42 grand, which in today's money is like a $70,000 K car derivative. Is completely stunning. This one is in pretty good shape as far as these things go. It's got some rubber stripping pulling off the bumper, which is normal, but crucially, it is at a place that is a rent-a-wreck renter, which is amazing. And I hope this is a rental car from Rent-A-Wreck.
Oh, I would sincerely hope so. This also feels like, a cease and desist waiting to happen, where it makes it look like it's a budget subsidiary, which is it? Question mark. I don't think so. I think this is just waiting for somebody who works at budget to come down on them and be like, yeah, you can't have us on your sign also. All right.
We have one car from budget at a time.
Yeah, we did. I saw the TC, and that's not in concordance with the budget brand. Oh boy, where are we? We're in some kind of giant British car town, Bentley / Rolls Royce / whatever. Wow. I don't know. I'm going to cheat and read the comments. A Bentley ripe for Lemons car spotting. Well, there you go. I don't know anything about Bentleys. I guess, did they have the same big old V8 that they used in every single Rolls Royce for 40 years?
The 6 3/4 liter?
Right.
I do believe that is the case.
Indeed, yeah. Well, these are, in this condition, it almost elevates it beyond what it would be if it was in good condition, especially with the wide whites and the lack of hubcaps. This just has talk about pull up to a Tinder date in this. It's got presence, it's got style. I like it a lot.
Yeah. One of the things that's maybe not as obvious, you can tell looking at it mostly because it fills up the entire frame. That is a gigantic car, but measuring it against the building in the background, it's got to be 25 feet long.
Yeah, that's the same Rent-A-Wreck office from the previous picture, right. And this car is as big. That's quite.
This is their one budget rental car is a 1950 Bentley.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're going up to the rental counter and you have a choice of this or the TC by Maserati, what are you taking? I think it's obviously this, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, I have no idea if this runs or any condition. Obviously, it's just something that Sunset Slim spotted on the side of the road, but probably too big for racing in Lemons. You need a waiver, which we'd probably give you. But for a rally, throw a small block Chevy in this thing and just cruise.
Well, I was going to say, I think fundamentally that 6 3/4 liter is a pushrod motor, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that they just kind of run. It's just all of the extra luxury stuff that was problematic, suspension and overly complicated brakes and so on and so forth. But yeah, it's put a 350 in it, whatever. If it needs it, and go for it. I agree. All right, next up.
Oh, Jesus. I was on the cusp of saying, man, this is a really expensive episode of Lemons Car Spotting. And then this, which is if I'm going to try to not look at the comments, and
I already did, and it's not disappointing, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to assume this is some kind of, just small enough that they can be imported from China and pay. It's like a $3,000 truck, quote unquote truck that is made in China and comes in a crate. Am I in the ballpark?
You're 100% in the ballpark, because if you read the comments, it is a Cayenne Pickman, which is fully electric, street legal, and can be purchased on Alibaba. So there's your ticket to Cayenne Pickman ownership.
I mean, we brought the median or the average price at sale down, to a reasonable level based solely on this thing. Occasional Lemons judge Jason Torchinsky bought a Chun-Li, I think, which is one of these things. And it is the most terrifying thing I could ever imagine driving on a public road.
Well, so that's the thing. Like, people have asked us for Lemons Racing occasionally, and we've seen cars that actually at Lemons races, but that are not from the U.S. market, because one of our rules is it's got to be street legal, or it had to have been street legal when it was new, which primarily is to exclude tube frame race cars and whatever, Formula Fords and things like that. What we always say is, like, yeah, if it's a Canadian market car, if it's a Mexican market car, it's fine, or, whatever, JDM, Europe. China is where it's like, give us more information. Like, we're not going to give just a blanket okay to cars that are street legal in China, because some of it is way janky. Some of it isn't, because what did we have? What was the Chinese car that we had that was somehow being illegally driven in Michigan with Ford badges on it?
Yeah, it was a Great Wall Motors Volex C20R.
That's right. Yeah. And so that car was not as good as a real car, but it wasn't as janky as something like this. It was close enough to a Mitsubishi Mirage, which I think is kind of what it was going for, that it met our safety standards. Something like this, it's going to be a no.
Yeah.
For Lemons Racing, but it's street legal, so you can take it on Lemons Rally.
Oh, man, such a bad idea.
That would be bad. What's the range of a Cayenne Pickman? Oh, boy. Oh, and we've come full circle with the final car or cars of the week. I guess that's not a convertible Cadillac, although it is an Eldorado also, like the ETC that began the deal. I thought it might be a convertible, but it's just a vinyl top that blends in with the surrounding scenery and makes it look like it might be a convertible top. But if you need a convertible, if the occasion calls for alfresco motoring, we've got an answer for you for that as well in the all-time classic Geo Metro, one of the cars that I have found in my non-scientific observations is the convertible that you see in public with the top down the highest percentage of the time, which means the Geo Metro convertible owners get the idea of convertible ownership more than any other convertible owners. That's my non-scientific take.
Yeah, I got three things to add here real quick. First of all, if this is the house of somebody in 1991 who had money to buy two reasonably priced cars and instead went way high and way low on it, and it balances out. It's kind of brilliant. Yeah,
it is. I mean, it does. It smacks of, I've reached management level at my job, and my kid is 16, and I'm gonna buy a little something special for the both of us.
That's right. Second of all, this is a great. You race the Metro, obviously, and you tow it to the racetrack using the Eldorado.
Oh yeah.
And third, since you breached this topic earlier in the video, you have a Tinder date, Nick. Which one of these are you picking up your date in?
Oh, boy. it's got to be the Metro, right? Like, I mean, the whole idea of a Tinder date. Well, one of the ideas of the Tinder date is maybe imparting the idea that you are not going to murder that person. And I feel like a Cadillac is it's 50-50. But if you show up in a Metro, that's pretty unthreatening. It could be misleading, though. I feel like if you're a Metro owner, either you will murder nobody or you're a serial killer. Whereas a Cadillac is like you have a higher chance of being a person that murders one person, but a lower chance of somebody who murders 25 people and buries them in the backyard. That's my feeling anyway.
Yeah, you're coming at this from the vantage point of a crime car expert. So we'll roll with that. Well, I've got the hooptiest, and this is a pretty easy one because it's a car I would personally never get myself into voluntarily and drive on the street with, and that is, of course, a brand new out of the crate Cayenne Pickman. I mean, the crash structure is your legs, if at all. So yeah, gonna take a hard pass on that one.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Boy, I like the name Pickman. Isn't that like, you know, there are some non-English speaking countries, but that really want to put out something that sounds sort of American. And it's like, well, they've got Pick Up and they've got Superman. So, you know, I don't disagree with the logic. All right, I've got the Lemons build. What Eric said, it's going to need a waiver, but it's got to be the Bentley. Imagine this on a road course with whatever 99 other Lemons cars. It would look incredible. Leave the white walls on it. You know, assuming that they're reasonably okay tires, which you know, now that I'm saying it out loud, probably aren't. But yeah, no, this thing's incredible. We've seen Rolls Royces, maybe not quite of this era, but slightly afterwards. I mean, it's sort of in that range where there are enough of them out there in this condition that, well, let me come at it from the other side. What's the nicest one of these cost? I mean, it's not $1 million car. I mean, what is it? 50 grand, something like that. Like these they were not super uncommon, and they don't have a huge collector following, which means really bad ones are worth almost nothing, because why pay to keep up the complicated systems on one of these things if it's not going to actually be worth your time? Which is, boy, if that isn't a description of the sweet spot for finding a Lemons car, I don't know what is.
Yeah, 100%. Just picturing this thing on a road course makes me smile. And imagine yourself driving this thing on a racetrack, and it's just a spectacular feeling. And better still, Bentley has actual endurance racing provenance going back to the 1920s with what I believe Ettore Bugatti called the world's fastest lorries. So
that's right.
You know, driving a semi truck basically. And there you have it.
Yeah, that was the logic back then for racing. It was like, you know, you're going off road or whatever you're doing, you just need something that's super huge and heavy duty, which is what the Bentleys of that era were. And I gotta say, this one kind of is too. So yeah.
True to its roots. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Lemons Car Spotting. We'll see you next week. Keep spotting crappy cars.
Yeah, I mean, this is easily the size of a small truck, so it continues the Bentley racing pedigree.